of Revelation, as we were saying, is a book of prophecy. And it's a book that is written, it is a book, a scroll that is written for the people who should live through the times of the book of Revelation. Okay? Isaiah 26:2. Yeah, nation is generally regarded as Gentiles in the Bible, in both the book of Revelation and in the Old Testament. The word nation, or sometimes it says nation, and sometimes it says Gentiles. It says Gentiles. Sometimes it says nation, or it will use another term that people don't like, is heathen. It will use another term. Yeah, so exactly. So Isaiah 26:2, of course, is dealing with people that accept the truth, right? So the righteous, the righteous Gentiles that keep the truth may enter in, right? So we see that also in the book of Revelation, of course. And this is the wonderful thing about the book of Revelation, because all of the things in the book of Revelation are found in the prophets of what they term the Old Testament. And here in the book of Revelation, notice what it says in Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21. Revelation 21. I'm going to start reading from verse 21. And I'm going to read down to verse 27. Notice what it says. Revelation chapter 21, from verse 21 down to verse 27. And the scriptures read, and the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahweh Allah Shaddai and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of Yahweh did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And notice what it says here. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. See, the word nations here is the same word heathen or Gentiles. The heathen that are saved, right, shall walk in the light of it. Also, verse 25, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. Notice what it says, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. So it is pretty obvious that they're going to be heathen that are saved, right? But and as Sister Violet shared, or Sister Brother Daniel shared in Isaiah 26:2, it's the heathen that do what? Which heathen does it say is going to be saved? Does it say all heathen are going to be saved? What does it say about the heathen that are going to be saved? What do they do in Isaiah 26:2? What are they practicing? What are they doing? Notice what it says there. Isaiah 26:2. What did it say about the heathen that are saved? Testing 1, 2, 3. That's right. The righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. That's right. The righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. That's the key thing, brothers and sisters, is that we observe Bible truth. That's what it comes down to. We observe Bible truth. Right? So this is right. So those that walk with Yahweh will enter into the gates. Those that follow Bible truth, truth of the Messiah, truth of the Father, truth of the law of the Scriptures, Bible truth may enter in. Exactly. And so that's you know, and again, the Bible talks in many places of the Gentiles coming to the truth, but it also, of course, and I love Isaiah chapter 11 with regard to this, because it breaks it down and it shows you that he's it breaks it down and it shows you that that there is the nation of the people, but it also talks about the Gentiles. So, it shows you as two separate people. It's not, even though they'll come together, as two separate people. Notice again, Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11 starts off speaking of the Messiah. So let's look at Isaiah 11, and I'm going to read from verse 1. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 12. Okay, watch this very carefully, especially when you brought up the word nations. It's very powerful. Notice again. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon him. The spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahweh, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together. And the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cocker's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Notice these last three verses though. In that day shall there be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Amath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. You see how he shows you the different classes of people. There's the nations that are the heathen that are going to be saved. Then he's talking about the outcasts of Israel and Judah. So he brings all of it together. So there's not like, you can't say that there's no Israelites, or there's no, and he even divides it up by Israel and Judah. You know, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And so he shows all of that, and then he shows the nations. And so does, of course, the book of Revelation, because it talks about the 12 tribes of Israel at the gates. And then, of course, it talks about the nations, the kings of the earth, bring their glory and honor into it. So the righteous nation that keepeth the truth, that is the Gentiles that follow the truth. Praise the Most High. Most Gentiles reject the truth. Most of them reject the truth. But a remnant will follow the truth. Praise the Most High. Remnant will follow the truth and are following the truth. Amen. That brings us to Revelation chapter 13, because Revelation 13 shows us an anti-truth. It shows us the kingdom of anti-truth, because anti-truth is against truth. That's what I mean when I say anti-truth. It's against truth. That's against truth. And so we start off by seeing this beast that's a conglomeration of ancient Babylon, Media Persia, Greece, and Rome brought together. It is based in Rome, and it's a religious power based in Rome. And it has a woman, which is the devil's called out people. You see, brothers and sisters, the Most High has a called out people. That is a people called out from the earth, from the world. He called them out of Egypt, means he called them out of the world to himself, right? We read about that. In fact, let's look at it. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy 7. Let's see. Deuteronomy chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 6 and read down to verse 8. Actually, verse 9, from verse 6 to verse 9 of Deuteronomy chapter 7, his called out people. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you, because he would keep the oath which he had sworn to your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that Yahweh thy Elohim, he is Yahweh, he is Allah, the faithful Allah, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keepeth his commandments to 1,000 generations. So he has chosen the children of Israel, the children of Abraham, based on his promise to Abraham. He has chosen them, and notice what it says. He chose them above who? It says he chose them above all the people that are upon the face of the whole earth. Did you see that? He chose them above all the people that are upon the face of the whole earth. He chose them. So somebody saying, well, you think you Hebrew Israelite, and what about other people? He ain't choose other people. The Bible didn't say that. It says he chose you, Israelites, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Well, what about the Gentiles? Well, we just read Gentiles that keep the truth can enter in, right? And we also read Gentiles that keep the truth can be grafted into the nation of Israel, which he originally chosen from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's seed. It's very plain in the scriptures. People don't want to see the truth, and that's the problem, brothers and sisters. We can present the truth, and this is what I have learned over time. The Most High has called me, among other men on the planet, to teach the truth. I know he has called me, and I know I'm not alone. And it's not for everybody. It's not even for the majority, brothers and sisters. Don't get it wrong. See, I don't want you to get, even though everybody, that's right, and even though everybody can receive it, not everybody or even the majority will. The Bible says that the Most High, the Messiah, added to the church, or added to the call out assembly daily, the congregation, such as should be saved. Okay, and he said that scripture in Acts was when they were just preaching the word to Israelites. The Lord added to the church daily. So they weren't preaching to Gentiles. So there are people that are by bloodline Hebrews that are going to be lost. But he's looking for a remnant of them that's going to keep the truth. Okay? It's not going to be a whole bunch of people. And that also shows us that even among the heathen, of course, most heathen, most Gentiles are going to reject the truth. Okay? They're going to reject the truth. So my job and the job of anyone that would teach the scriptures is to make sure we are bringing forth and presenting that which is true according to the scriptures. Okay? Bring forth and present that which is true according to the scriptures, and the people that receive it or reject it, that's between them and the Most High. See? That's between them and the Most High. So the scriptures plainly declare he has chosen Israel. That's his people. He has chosen Israel. And the people that are not Israel by blood are also his people when they connect into Israel by the Messiah by faith, through faith. Okay? It's very plain in the scriptures. So the call out people, or the congregation, or the church, if you will, is Israel. But the devil also has a woman that is his called out people. You say, called out from what? Well, it's opposite. It's completely inversely opposite to the Most High's called out people. The devil's called out people are called out of truth. I want to make sure you heard what I said. So the whore of Revelation 17 is the devil's called out people, and they're called out of truth. They're called into a religion that Revelation 13 describes. It says, notice what it says, Revelation chapter 13, verses from verse 2 down to verse 5. Revelation 13 from verse 2 down to verse 5. Notice what it says. Actually, from 2 down to verse 6. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon. They worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him, that is the beast, a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name, against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. So this is what the majority of the earth and most of the Gentiles specifically follow. And they worship the dragon. Now, I want to show you what we already know, but for the sake of those listening on YouTube, I want to show you the basis. You see, brothers and sisters, the foundation of the Most High belief system is the covenant. The covenant of the Most High is the foundation. That's why it's the foundation of his throne. Righteousness and truth is represented in the covenant. Thou shalt have no other gods before him. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything. So on and so. It is the covenant that is the foundation. You say, what about the Messiah? The Messiah is a living, breathing version of the covenant. That's what the Messiah is. He's a complete representation of his Father. And the covenant is a complete representation of the Father's character. They're one and the same. Okay? That's what he said. I and my Father are one. He's not saying that Messiah is not calling himself the Father as some erroneously assert. The Messiah is saying that he and his Father are one in character, purpose. They're one. So with the covenant. The covenant is one with the Messiah and the Father. You can't separate them, though people try. That's error. They're one. So the covenant is representing the Father. And if you're going to be with the Father and with the Messiah, you're going to be obedient to the covenant. There's no question about it. You're going to be completely one with them in the Spirit. He said, I and you. You're talking about the Father. He said, Father, I and you, and thou and me, and together we in them. That's John chapter 17, Gospel of John chapter 17. So he wants us to be one in the Spirit, one in unity. That is one in the covenant. Okay, so that's the basis and foundation of the belief system of the Most High. But the devil has his own belief system. And that belief system, we obviously can see in Revelation that the majority of the earth, the vast, vast majority, only a remnant is going to obey the truth of the Most High system. That is obedience to the covenant and following Messiah. See, there are those people out here that are calling themselves Hebrew Israelites that don't receive Messiah. You can't receive Messiah. You don't have Father. You don't have anything. You are lost. Then there are those that are claiming that the Messiah is the Father. That is not true. Messiah said, pray to your Father, which is in secret. And your Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward you openly. Then they said, teach us how to pray. He said, this is how you pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So there's a Father that in the name of the Messiah, we pray to. And we come to them by the Father's Spirit. which is not, there's no Trinity. The Spirit is the Spirit of Yahweh. It's his Father's Spirit that works through the Messiah to bring us to himself. And the basis and foundation of his belief system is the covenant, obedience in the covenant. Okay? But the devil also has a basis of his system, and the majority of the earth follows the devil's system. And notice what his system's basis is. It's in Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. Let's just look at a couple of things so we see what the world is following out here, the basis of what they're following. Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to read a very familiar passage of scripture from verse 1 down to verse 6. Genesis chapter 3, and it's so appropriate we read to verse 6 because man was created on the 6th day, and we're talking about man's religion right now. Notice what the scriptures say. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Allah had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Yahweh said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, here it is right here, Ye shall not surely die, for Allah doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now look, he told her, when he told her, you is going to be as gods, and the word translated is God, Allah. You're going to be like Allah. So the woman wanted to be a goddess, and she wanted her husband to join her as a god. And brothers and sisters, this is a man as God religion. And that's everything that the world follows. When you start exalting Yahweh, and you exalt his covenant, and you exalt the Messiah, people are going to fight with you. They're going to argue with you. They're going to try to put you in some Christian denomination or try to categorize you. But when you give man glory, you're going to have dollars flowing. When you start giving man glory, you start telling man you could be rich, you could do anything on this planet you want. You are God on this planet. You're going to have dollars flowing towards you then. You're going to have all kinds, because people like that religion. They like the one where they are God. They are in control of everything, and they decide, and they can create, and they can do. They like that. And that's what the devil gives them. And it's based, the Catholic Church is based in man. It's based in man's philosophy of a pope calling himself father, and of earthly priests, which the Bible have no ever indicated there should be any priests aside from the Levites, and these men ain't no Levites. Pedophilia and homosexuality rampant among them. And then you have all the other so-called Christian churches basing themselves out of Rome. So I remember once when I was in the SDA church, I heard some fool tell me, he told me to my face, do you know the SDA church is based on the, what did he call it? The congregational church model. We're based on the congregational church model. That fool didn't even know what he was talking about, because all of these churches are based on the Roman Catholic model. That's according to the scriptures. And the whole world wandered after the beast. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. If somebody claims to keep the 7th-day Sabbath, but they not honoring Messiah, they not honoring Father, they not keeping the whole covenant, you can't break up the 10 commandments and break them up into 10 little pieces, brothers and sisters, and decide you're going to keep part of it, or one part of it makes you special. Either you are keeping the whole covenant, or you are not. Whosoever keepeth the covenant or breaketh one point, he is guilty of all. Once you have sinned against the covenant, no matter which commandment you broke, you have broke the whole covenant. It's broke. Okay? So either you're obedient to the covenant or not. And any people that would claim to be obedient to the covenant while giving honor to Rome as a 501c3 corporation are straight up liars. I'm going to tell you straight. Straight up lie. I don't care how nice they are, how well they educated, how many hospitals and schools they got. They are bold-faced lying. They don't belong to the Most High. Now, there are people within all of these lying man-based religions, even the Catholic Church, there are people within all of them that's going to come out and give honor to the Creator and the Messiah and the covenant. There's going to be people. As a matter of fact, all of us are among the called out people of the children of Israel, because that's the only called out people that he has. Okay? And the nations of them which are saved are those people that have been grafted in to the called out nation. They grafted into the called out nation. Praise the Most High. So the Bible shows us here in Revelation 13, it showed us, we have studied this already, that this conglomeration of earthly powers, that ancient Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, and Rome, written, Revelation 17, this is being controlled and written by a church called out into lies and sin, called out into blasphemies and fornication, called out of the truth. That's the woman of Revelation 17, that is the whore. She's called out of the truth. Brothers and sisters, just as if we break one of the 10 commandments, we are guilty of breaking all. We have violated the covenant. If you start to follow something that is blatantly, unbiblically not true, biblically not true, and unbiblical, not true, you breaking all truth, man. You just messed up on all truth. You can't follow something that's half rotten and half good at the same time. Either the fountain is spitting out sweet water or it's spitting out bitter water. It can't spit out both. So you can't sit in one of these churches, claim and know in your heart that they're not completely following truth and say you're in the truth. You're in a lie. You're in a lie. You're living a lie. And brothers and sisters, doesn't it, right? I've done it before. Isn't it tiring to live a lie? It's tiring, man. It weighs on your spirit and your soul. You can't live a double life. You can't live a lie. You got to be all in with the truth. Like we said last week, either it's all or nothing. It's a zero-sum game. Either you all in or you not in at all. That's the way it is. Either you all in or you not in at all. So here we are, Revelation 13, and the Bible is showing us this government power that's being controlled by this woman that's called out of truth and got the whole world following it, because it gives honor and glory to man, and it gives honor and glory to the earth, and it doesn't give honor and glory to the one true creator of all. Then it showed us in Revelation 13 that this beast power exercised authority over the whole earth, and then it helped raise up a second beast power. This is where we last studied. A second beast power. Now, a beast in the Bible, according to Daniel chapter 7, a beast in the Bible is a representation of a kingdom. So a second kingdom or nation arose after Rome. It would be a young nation. It would be a nation that will profess principles of the Lamb. Let's look at it. Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. Revelation 13, verse 11 and 12. Revelation chapter 13, verse 11 and 12. Notice what it said. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. I beheld another kingdom coming up out of the earth. This one came up after 1798 in terms of its world power and prominence. It came up later. It's a young nation. It has Christian or so-called Christian virtues, looking like a lamb, but it's being controlled and run from the inside by the dragon. The same dragon that gives power, seat, and authority to the Romish power. The same one. And this second kingdom that came up, it exercises the power of Rome upon the earth because it controls the earth. And it encourages the earth to give honor to Rome. What nation gives a power all over the earth that's a young nation? And notice it said it came up out the earth. See, the other one came up out the sea. All of these other kingdoms come up out of strife among peoples, wars between nations. You say, well, what about the Indians? Then we war with the Indians. Listen, man, you showing up on the shores of a land where people already dwell, right? And they don't even know you coming near to kill them, right? Is that really a war? Is it really a war? Right? So like if two nations, like when Edom and Israel were going to fight, they knew they were going to be warring with each other. It was like set up, right? They were going to war. Right? If Babylon was fighting against Egypt, well, Egypt knew Babylon was coming and they could get set because Babylon was coming, right? If the United States was fighting against Vietnam, Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese, they knew you were coming, right? They getting ready because they know they get near weapons from Russia and China and they know you coming. But when them Europeans showed up on the shores of what is now the United States of America with their disease-infested boats, the Indians had no idea what was coming. And between the disease and their guns and their swords, they mercilessly destroyed Indian nations from one coast to the other and took the land. That's why it says coming up out the earth, because it wasn't no skirmish. It wasn't even a fair fight. They came in here and just took it, smiled in them Indians' faces, gave them $24 for Manhattan, and $24, what were they going to spend that on? Indians had to buy nothing, and took it all. Just took it all. Smiling at them and then taking over and then going to tell them this is where you're going to live and set up. Yeah, and then sat down and had Thanksgiving. We thank God for allowing us to come here and slaughter these people. Oh yes. And they had the nerve to call them heathen, call the Indians heathen. If that's not the pot calling the kettle black. So that's why it says they come up out the earth, because they came over here, took over the land, and really there was nobody to stop them. And so it was kind of quiet. It wasn't like when the European nations fought each other, when the Ottoman Empire came rolling up on Peter the Great and tried to take Europe. It wasn't like that, where they knew each other was coming and they knew. It wasn't like that. These white people came in here from Europe and took over. Said, this is our land, we're going to take it over. We're going to give you a few pelts or something, and you're going to get out of our way, or we're going to kill all of you. Matter of fact, we're going to kill you anyway. See, that's how that rolled. And so now you have the United States of America coming up out the earth. There was nobody stopped. And they came over here with their Bible, and they came over here with their white Jesus, and they came over here and they said they were Christians, and they were following Christianity. But they said anybody can practice any religion they want here. This is not going to be like Europe, where you had to be Catholic. That's what the claim was. Of course, they did go opposite of that too. They still do. And they said there's not going to be any monarchy here. There's going to be a system of checks and balances. So you got political and religious freedom. That's why I had two horns like a lamb. Political and religious freedom are the two principles upon which the United States of America was founded. It actually was not founded as a democracy. It was founded as a republic. And there's two different things when you see a democracy and republic. Two different things. It was founded as a republic based on political and religious freedom. That's why you had two horns like a lamb, came up out the earth, but it spake as a dragon. What does that mean? That means they came on here smiling at the Indians, but if the Indians got in their way on this land, they won't get slaughtered. That means the United States can go to a country and say, look, we suggest you let us open a base on your country. And what they're really saying is, you got ultimatum. Either you're going to open a base on your country or we're going to destroy it. Simple. That's how we roll. And we believe in the United States of America, we got the most powerful military on planet Earth, that we can just go anywhere and do anything we want. And really, the Bible is showing us it exercises all the power. Wait a minute, watch this. of the first beast before him. In other words, the authority that is exercising is the authority of his true leader. And that leader resides in Rome, which is the first beast. Okay? It exercises all the power of Rome. Okay? Right? Now, I like to read this, and I did this last week. I'm going to do it again. I like to read this. Instead of reading it with the symbolism, let's read it to what those symbols actually represent. So the first beast is Rome, right? The beast that comes up out of the earth that has a lamb and speak as a dragon is the United States, right? Right? So let's look at that. Then let's substitute Rome and United States, and let's see what it says, right? Because when you do that, you can see it comes pretty clear. So I'm going to read from verse 11, and I'm going to read down to verse 15, and watch very carefully as we substitute the beast. Instead of the beast, we substitute it for what it really represents, and watch how clear it becomes. And I beheld the United States of America coming up out of the earth, and the United States of America had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as the devil. And the United States of America exercises all the power of Rome before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship Rome, whose deadly wound was healed. And the United States of America does great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which the United States of America had power to do in the sight of Rome, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to Rome, which had a wound by a sword, and did live. And the United States of America had power to give life unto the image of Rome, that the image of Rome should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of Rome should be killed. How's that? Does that sound pretty clear, brothers and sisters? How's that? Does that give it some clearness, some clarity, some meaning here? You see what's going on, right? Okay, so it's not so secretive, it's not so encoded, right? So when you start reading it like that, you can see what's exactly getting ready to happen. So what's the image of Rome? That's what we're talking about today, the image to the beast. And it says that the United States of America had power to give life to the image. In other words, to bring it to life, to cause it to breathe, to cause it to have authority. Well, let's talk about Rome, because this is an image to Rome, right? So let's talk about Rome, and then we'll know what the image is. Well, let's just go through some history. We did this before, but it's worth going through again. So you have Rome. It's a city in the nation of Italy, right? You have the city of Rome, a city that's in the nation of Italy, probably the major city. And during the time of the Roman Empire, right? It was the Roman Empire, which means you had an empire that was based with leaders in the city of Rome. They controlled the then known earth. They militarily swept through all different countries and took over. The Middle East, North Africa, Europe, of course, took over. Then out of that power, there came an emperor named Constantine. And he brought out what is now termed as Christianity. And based on Constantine's impetus, he was the root that developed what would later be called the Roman Catholic Church, which means a Roman universal church. The word Catholic, listen to me carefully, the word Catholic means universal. A Roman universal church, which means that all people that are going to be saved must be in this Roman universal church, or the Roman Catholic Church. This church exercised not only military power, not only economic power, but of course, above all, religious power. People during the height of its power, during what we call now the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages, this is a time from maybe the 6th century AD all the way up to the 18th century AD. The people that lived in this particular, under the realm of the Roman Catholic Church, you could buy and sell positions. If some archbishop, if some man was rich and he lived in Germany, he could give Rome some money, and the Pope can declare him an archbishop, which means he had power both religiously as well as economically over the people. Basically, he collect money for the people and split that money with Rome. Okay? It was about the power and the money. And they all answered to Rome, to what they called the Holy See, or the Pope, the papacy. All right? So now you had that situation. And then you had a little infighting, a little fighting from within Rome. There was some argument. We're not talking about the Protestant Reformation, but the Protestant Reformation kind of started this. What happened was the Protestant Reformation, you had a bunch of Europeans that were arguing against the authority of Rome. They had gotten hold of the Bible, and they started reading that Rome shouldn't be in charge, that there's a God that should be in charge, and that they should be following the Messiah, not Rome. Martin Luther, Zwingli, John Knox, all these people fighting against John Huss, fighting against Rome's authority. They didn't know any better, but they were creating their own little denominational churches at the time. Eventually, Rome decided they got to do something about this Protestant movement, so they had a meeting, or should I say a series of meetings, called the Council of Trent, the Council of Laodicea. And they decided at this council to create a new order of Roman Catholic priests, a special order. This would be more than just a priest that can receive, confession or do mass. No. This these sect of priests of the Roman Catholic Church would be a military order, so that their job would be to destroy the Protestant movement from within, to kill off its leaders and to infiltrate its churches and to take over from within and bring it back under the authority of the Roman bishop, the Bishop of Rome, which is the Pope. These people became so good because their job, they were allowed to murder or sabotage or lie or kill or steal or poison or whatever they had to do to bring down the Protestant movement. They were called the Anti-Reformation. Okay? The Counter-Reformation. That's what they were called. And the name of the new order was called the Jesuits, or the Society of Loyola, or the Society of Jesus. Because there was a man named Ignatius Loyola they call him the first Jesuit. Okay? So now you had this order that was taking over, infiltrating, and destroying from within the Protestant movement. But they got so good, they started taking over nations and kingdoms. They started taking over kings. They started becoming counselors next to kings. They started infiltrating everything. And then people were getting scared of them. So they were getting kicked out of places. They had to change their names. So they had different names. They infiltrated the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in England. They infiltrated the Illuminati in Bavaria. They started coming different places. And so Pope got scared of them. And the Roman powers got scared of them. And said, okay, we're gonna issue a papal bull to disband the Jesuit order. They too powerful. Jesuits wasn't having that. So instead, the Jesuits created a revolution. They created this revolution. The Jesuits are very good at uprising and revolution. And so they created a revolution, okay, in France with Napoleon. And they attacked Rome. And they came in 1798 with Berthier and took the Pope off his throne. And they agreed to let the Pope come back under one condition. Well, it was more than one, but one main condition. The main condition was you reinstitute the order of the Jesuits. And of course, the Pope complied. Okay? So now you had the Jesuit order now running things in Rome. So now they had received the deadly wound, and now in 1929, in order to solidify the power of Rome, the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini October 1929. They put together a legal documents, the Concord Act, which created a separate nation within the city of Rome. So that the Vatican became not just a place where it housed the Roman Catholic Church in its base and foundation, it became its own country. Its own country within Rome, had its own police department, have its own economic system, have its own bank, have its own ambassadors, and of course is led by the Pope. So now you had that power have its deadly wound healed, and now it becomes not only now it's its own nation, which means it has military power. You know, they got Swiss guards in the Vatican. They got military power, they got political power, they got religious power. So you have church and state united in Rome. Do you see that? So now you have a country where church and state are united, and they're united by one man. Okay, they're united by one man. The Pope is the leader of his church, and he's the leader of his state. Okay, and Roman Catholics around the world do not vote to see who the Pope is. The archbishops around the world decide who the next Pope is going to be. It's a small group of people decide who the next Pope is going to be when one dies, okay, or one steps aside. They decide who the next Pope is going to be. So now we're talking about that's the beast. That's the beast. So you have as the beast a religious political nation. Well, that seems to be opposite of the United States of America, because the United States of America was founded on a principle, aside from the political and religious freedom principles we talked about earlier, was founded on a principle of the separation of church and state. The separation of church and state. So in order for the United States to lead a movement that is an image to Rome, you can't have a separation of church and state. Church and state has to come together. People say, well, that will never happen in the United States. You're not paying attention if you think it will never happen in the United States. You're not paying attention. First of all, again, let us point out the most powerful court in the United States of America, the public court, not talking about the private ones, talking about the public ones. The most powerful court is the Supreme Court of the United States. And on the Supreme Court of the United States, there are no Protestants. There are no Muslims. There are no Hebrews. There are 9 Supreme Court justices. 6 of them are Roman Catholic. 3 of them are Ashkenazi Jew. Okay? And they make decisions based on where they come from. Who's leading? Okay? Your Senate and your House are controlled and run by Roman Catholics or Ashkenazi Jews. And let me point this out. The Ashkenazi Jews and Roman Catholics answer to the same Pope. They're working for the same people. They're just working 2 sides. And they're given an illusion that there's such a thing as Christianity and Judaism, where these things are both man-made religions. They're not. Neither of them is Bible. Neither of them is Bible at all. Okay? At all. So you have these 2 religions working together, and then you have the powers controlling the House, the Senate, the presidential office. You say, well, Barack Obama is not an Ashkenazi Jew. Neither is he a Roman Catholic. That doesn't matter. It's the people that are controlling him that matter. Okay? Who got him in office? Well, David Plouffe, a Jew, right? Joe Biden, a Roman Catholic, right? Right? You had the guy that was his chief of staff before he went to become mayor of Chicago, a Jew, Ashkenazi Jew, right? So it's the people that's controlling them that's bringing them into power. You got to watch. It's not them. You understand? So and that's the way that the Jesuits operate, behind the scenes, controlling everything. So now, an image to the beast, you're going to have, and you're going already started. You're going to see Christianity become combined with politics in the United States. Well, if you don't already see it, you must be blind. It's already happening. You have people proclaiming themselves Christian to become president. I mean, Barack Obama had to say it till he was blue in the face that he wasn't a Muslim in order to become president. Why would the religion matter if you have a separation of church and state? Well, it does matter. They've convinced the people of this watered down religion called Christianity that this has got to be the religion of all the people in America, especially people that run America. And so you have the conservative movement, the right, the far right, and they're also called Christians. A lot of them gay. That's another thing. I guess that kind of goes with Rome. But anyway, that's the situation. So now you're going to have a situation where church and state comes together in the United States the way it does in Rome. And you're going to have to be obedient to the whole thing. Just like if you're a Roman Catholic, you got to be obedient to the state and to the church. That's why it's dangerous to have 6 of the 9 Supreme Court justices be Roman Catholic. They got to be obedient to their church, which is Roman Catholicism, and their state, which is Rome, as well as the United States. The United States comes second to their religion. See? And so church and state is already coming together in the United States. It's already coming together. And so we have an object lesson of it in Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3 shows us Nebuchadnezzar created an image. And I think you can understand the image was in Nebuchadnezzar's honor. And he created this image in the middle of the plain of Dura in the kingdom of Babylon. And he had all his top people come out to the desert in the plain of Dura to dedicate the image. And when they got out there, he said, when you hear the music, you need to bow to this image. The problem was there were some Hebrews out there. And 3 of the Hebrews decided they were going to keep covenant with the Most High, regardless if they were in Babylon and regardless if they worked for the government, which they did. They worked for the government of Babylon and they were captives in the Babylonian system. But they were not going to break the covenant of the Most High. They couldn't help the fact that they were captives, but they were not going to break the covenant of the Most High, and they did not. And you know the story. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay? The same thing will happen in our day. Church and state are coming together. Right now, we got special license, driver's licenses. You got things you got to do. You got to pay these taxes to IRS. You got all these things you got to do, brothers and sisters. And then they try to tell you got to take shots. You're going to have to take certain shots. You don't even know what's in these vaccines. They're trying to put you into your body. They do all of these things. And when it comes time, they're going to ask you to do something in order to be a patriotic American that breaks the covenant. You'll know what it is because it's going to be a blatant. See, the covenant is very plain. It's not like you can't sneak around the covenant. So if you're going to worship another God or you're not, you're going to give honor to an image or you're not, you're going to take his name in vain, you're going to keep the 7th-day Sabbath or you're not, right? I mean, it's just very plain. So they're going to do something that, and it's got to be blatant. It can't be undercover. It's got to be blatant, brothers and sisters, because the devil is behind it, and he's looking for people to worship him, right? So if he's looking for people to worship him, he wants everybody to know you're breaking the covenant. See, you got to be conscious of the fact that you're doing that. It's not going to be undercover. Say, what's the mark of the beast? It's the laws that this image to Rome that the United States is going to create is going to come into pass that's going to cause people to break the covenant to remain patriotic citizens. I'll give you an example. In Nazi Germany, and people hate when you mention Nazi Germany. They hate when you compare anything to Nazi Germany. You know why they hate it? Because Nazi Germany is the template from which many civilizations are using, especially the man-based. Nazi Germany believed in the survival of the species and the strongest survive and all that. That's man-based religion. And Nazi Germany required all of its citizens to give honor to the Nazi Party. At first, it was Nazi Party was one of many parties, but eventually, by the time the Nazis took total control and was controlling the movies, the commercials, the radio, the newspapers, the magazines, and the minds of the people, you had to be part of the Nazi Party. Otherwise, you were out and you were suspect. Brothers and sisters, it's coming to the United States. It's coming to the earth. A one world government with one world religious principles. It's already based in the United Nations, and it's going to spread through the earth. Notice what it says. It says, he gave life into the image of the beast, that the image should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image should be killed. The United States of America is the only nation that has the power and the authority and the influence to pull off such a thing. You say, what about the United Nations? The United States of America influences the United Nations. The United States of America influences all nations. The United States of America is the most powerful nation on planet Earth. Everybody knows that. You might say, oh, well, we're not number one in education, we're not number one in wealth. Let me tell you something. As long as they got all the missiles and the nuclear warheads, and as long as they got that bloodthirstiness in their mouth, nobody's messing with it. Prophecy has declared it. So the United States of America is going to lead the earth in an image or in a system that is going to mirror the system in Rome. Okay? And Rome is going to be behind it. Rome is going to be behind it, and they already are. That's why you have the Roman Catholic Pope coming to the White House and making the President Bush kiss his ring. You have Barack Obama going to Rome and kissing the Pope's ring. You have Bill Clinton doing the same thing. It's out here already. It's already out here. Already out here. Okay, this is not something that may happen in the future, brothers and sisters. It's happening now. The only thing that's stopping it is what? You could tell me. What's stopping them from completing the image to the beast that they want to finish and create the system that they want to stop? What's stopping them, brothers and sisters? Talk to me. What you ought to know. What's stopping them? You study enough now. You can tell me. Yeah, kind of. But yes, there it is. There it is. As long as the 144,000 are not sealed, they're not going to be able to go forward. You see, brothers and sisters, the Messiah declared, no man takes my life from me. He said that. He said, I have power to lay it down and I have power to take it up again. Messiah came here and nobody could do anything to him that he didn't allow. You understand? So here, the same thing. Most High is in power. He's in charge. And he has declared, hold the winds until the servants of Allah are sealed in their forehead. Brothers and sisters, the 144,000 are being developed. And why? Because as this thing breaks forth and the mark of the beast is let out the bag and everybody is going to be going for it. You know why everybody's going to go for it? Because nobody is understanding that this thing is not about a chip, it's not about a IUD chip or tattoo or some 666 pointed on somebody. It's all about worship. It's all about worship, whether you will obey the covenant or not. Now, we know that the only way to be completely, perfectly obedient to the covenant is to be completely and totally given over to Yahweh, the Most High Yah, in the name of the Messiah, and to be given over to his righteousness, that you might be obedient to the covenant. To be given over to the spirit of righteousness of the Most High and the Messiah, that you might be obedient to the covenant. That's the only way. Okay, that's the only way. So in order to be obedient to the covenant, you are given over to the Most High. You're given over to the Messiah in the name of the Messiah, to the Most High. You're given of the Most High spirit of perfect righteousness. The blood of the Messiah cleanse you, and you're going to be obedient. It ain't got nothing to do with being a member of a church, a denomination, organization. You are obedient individual to the Most High. Okay? Most people are not obedient. Why? Because either they don't believe in the covenant, they don't believe in the Messiah, or they believe the Messiah did away with the covenant, or they're into their churches. And they're really into their churches. And so into their churches they go, and they are controlled by the dragon. And so most people, not understanding this thing is about worship, just like in Daniel 3, they went out there to the plain of Dura thinking it was a dedication, right? I mean, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah went out there with the understanding this is a dedication. What's the dedication? You know, politicians say a few words, they do a toast, everybody eats a lot of food, and they go home. When they got out there, though, it changed from a dedication, a patriotic event, to a worship service where everybody's going to bow to the image. It's the same thing that's getting ready to happen in the United States right now. People not paying attention because they don't know it's about worship. The devil knows it's about worship. The Most High's chosen people know it's about worship, but most people on the earth don't know it's about worship. So they think it's being patriotic. So when they start changing laws in the United States that bring church and state together, and they demand that everybody worship a certain way for the good of the nation and of the safety of the earth, and you refuse because you will not break the covenant, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. And then what's going to happen? Notice what it says. Revelation chapter 13 from verse 15. Again, I'm going to substitute the words, the actual entities for the symbols. Okay, Revelation chapter 13 from verse 15 to verse 18. Notice what it said. The United States of America had power to give life to the image of Rome, that the image of Rome should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of Rome should be killed. And he, that is the United States of America, causes all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of Rome, or the number of Rome. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of Rome, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. 666. Man's number is 6, because man was made on the 6th day. This is a man-based religion led by a man that thinks he's God, just as the devil taught Eve. You can be as God. And here is a man-based religion based in Rome with a man, the Pope, that thinks he's God. 666. You understand? That's where we at. And we're coming to it. And it's all in place. I want to let y'all know it's all in place right now. It's all in place. Everything they need is in place. The only thing not in place is the Most High sealing the 144,000. And he's underway doing that right now. The awakening is taking place, and he's going to bring his children forth from all of these churches and all of these systems of worship. People are going to come forth to the Most High and to the truth of the word. See, and you see, back in the Dark Ages, Rome used to burn the Bibles. When William Tyndale created, when he translated the Bible into English, Rome was burning as many of those Bibles as they could get their hands on. They had one and a couple of them around the earth today because Rome was burning them. Okay? They don't have to burn Bibles today. People just handing Bibles over today. Nobody's reading Bibles today. That's the thing. They got the mind of the people so jacked up that people not reading the Bible. People going to their churches faithfully. They're listening to their pastors faithfully. But nobody's reading the Bible for themselves. Nobody's doing it. Okay? Okay? You're not reading it for themselves. Even them false versions, NIV, NK, they ain't hardly reading them either. You might read excerpts from them, but they're not reading it. They're not studying. Okay? They're not even studying that. Okay? So it's easy without people studying the scriptures, with people's minds all jacked up on the food, the stuff they putting in the food, the drugs they putting in the food, the drugs the pharmaceutical companies got people hooked on. The mind control that's in the churches, the mind control that's in the TV, the mind control in the music, the mind control on the political scene, the mind control in the news. It's easy for them to get people to do whatever they want. The only thing stopping them is Revelation 7. Hold the winds until we have sealed the servants of our Allah in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And that, brothers and sisters, is where we at right now. That's where we at. Now, the next thing we're going to read is Revelation 14, where it shows 144,000. Revelation 13 showed Rome in its completed state, in its most highest completed state, and how it got there with the help of his pet puppet, the United States of America. Next, we're going to see the 144,000 stand with the Lamb of the Most High, and how they became the 144,000 and what they did on the earth. That's what we're going to see next, Revelation chapter 14. Let's have a word of prayer.